Today, we're reliving the wildest freefalls ever, medical mysteries, disastrous interviews, front offices outthinking themselves, and the teams that either panicked or pounced. Some of these guys became champions, some became cautionary tales. This is Top 10 Craziest Draft Slides in NBA History. Bol Bol, pick 44, 2019. Early in the cycle, Bol Bol was a YouTube fever dream come to life. 7 feet 2 inches with a high-release 3, guard-like handle flashes, and condor length. People said unicorn a lot. Then a foot injury at Oregon derailed the season. The measurements spooked durability models, and questions about roll clarity swelled. On draft night, the slide was dramatic. Past the lottery, past the 20s, into the late 30s. The Miami Heat finally took him at 44 and traded his rights to Denver. The talent never stopped being weirdly beautiful. Trailing threes, off-the-dribble pull-ups at skyscraper height, volleyball spikes at the rim. But teams wrestled with where that package lives in a playoff rotation. Could he anchor a defense, survive switches, handle the banging? He's had highlight stretches and growth spurts as a rotational piece elsewhere, but the 44 number remains a jaw-dropper for someone with that skill mix. Bol's slide captures the modern dilemma. We want the outlier, but we also want snap-fit clarity. When the fit isn't obvious and medicals are murky, GMs get conservative. The tumble was painful, the upside still tantalizing. DeAndre Jordan, pick 35, 2008. DeAndre Jordan entered the 2008 cycle with the kind of frame and bounce that gets scouts leaning forward. 7-footish, giant reach, and a pogo stick second jump. Lottery chatter felt natural. Then teams dug into the Texas A&M film. Raw touch, limited post work, shaky free throws, and questions about immediate impact. Interviews and workouts didn't completely settle the debate. On draft night, concern turned to inertia, and he slid out of the first round entirely. The Clippers grabbed him at 35. What followed is draft room whiplash. Jordan became a premier rim runner/rim protector, an all-NBA first-teamer in the Lob City era, and an all-star. The traits skeptics doubted, free throws and touch, never truly became strengths, but the ones he owned, vertical spacing, offensive rebounding, and paint deterrence, were so elite that it didn't matter. His slide is a thesis statement. If a big is generational at a narrow band of skills, that specialization can outweigh the missing pieces. 30-plus teams talked themselves out of above-the-rim gravity in a league that was about to spam pick-and-roll lob threats. The Clippers didn't overcomplicate it and came away with a franchise anchor in the second round. Here's Nerlens Noel, consensus number 1, talk to pick 6, 2013. In a weird 2013 class, Nerlens Noel was the early clubhouse leader for number 1. Elite shot-blocking instincts, rare quickness for a center, and pick-and-roll defense that popped on every Kentucky possession. Then he tore his ACL late in the season. Rehab timelines, frame concerns, and offensive limitations crept into the discussion. On draft night, a pick that once felt automatic became a fall to 6, where New Orleans selected him and sent him to Philadelphia. Noel still checked the boxes you hoped for defensively. Vertical deterrence, switch-capable feet, and energy that lifts second units. But the offensive ceiling never cracked open, and the injury was a real factor early. His slide captures how one incident can swing everything at the top of the board, especially when there's no can't-miss scorer to balance the risk. If you rewind, the market probably overreacted, given how quickly bigs now return from ACLs. Still, teams were weighing a defense-first center in a league drifting toward 5-out spacing. The result? A 6-spot tumble that felt seismic in real time, because number 1 buzz to 6 is a different kind of fall. Cam Whitmore, pick 20, 2023. Watch Cam Whitmore's Villanova tape, and you see the recipe. Violent first step, NBA frame at 18, power finishes, and a jumper trending up. He lived in top 5 mocks for months. Then came the haze, rumors about medical flags, and underwhelming interviews. Whether fair or not, they spread. On draft night, talented wings flew off the board, while Whitmore sat. The fall kept going until Houston stopped it at 20. What followed was instant "you messed up" energy. He took Summer League MVP, flashed that downhill burst as a rookie, and showed the cutting/spot-up game that thrives next to a lead playmaker. The Rockets didn't have to chase upside. Upside fell into their lap. Whitmore's slide is modern draft psychology in a nutshell. With dozens of data points, it's easy for small red flags to snowball. But elite athletic wings who shoot and pressure the rim age well in any system. Houston bet the talent would sing once the noise faded. Through year 1, it's humming. Michael Porter Jr., pick 14, 2018. Before the back injury, Michael Porter Jr. looked like a future number 1 candidate, 6 feet 10 inches, wing scorer, buttery jumper, pull-up range, and on-ball creativity. You just don't find at that size. franchise, but surgery and limited college minutes created a giant unknown. Medicals spooked the top of the board. Teams imagined worst-case outcomes. One by one, they passed. Denver, already notorious for pouncing on undervalued talent, stopped the slide at 14. Patience became the plan. The Nuggets slow-rolled his recovery, then let him scale into a jumbo shotmaker who can bend defenses with movement threes and tough mid-range makes. He battled through defensive growth pains and health management to become a key starter on the 2023 championship team. The lesson here: sometimes the market is pricing injury risk more than basketball. If you can tolerate the timeline, the upside is right there. Porter's slide wasn't a talent verdict. It was a medical calculus that Denver, with Jokic and long runway, could stomach. 14 felt like a cliff on draft night. Years later, it reads like a heist. Jared Sullinger, pick 21, 2012. At Ohio State, Jared Sullinger was a walking double-double with a grown man post-game. Through much of the cycle, he was mocked in the top 10. Then the medicals hit. Reports flagged back concerns, and the room got cold, fast. On draft night, teams staring at that red tag balked, and Sullinger's name kept getting skipped until Boston snapped him up at 21. Boston's calculus: elite feel, strong hands, rebounding instincts, and real touch around the rim, all available because of a medical risk. For a time, the bet paid. Sullinger produced solid numbers, stretched his range, and anchored lineups with craft over vertical pop. But the back issues never truly left. His slide wasn't about talent. It was about durability probability. That's a recurring theme in draft rooms. A single flagged MRI can move millions of dollars and many picks. Sullinger's story sits in that strange middle ground. Good player, clear NBA value, just not the long-term health arc front offices needed to greenlight a top 10 pick. The fall to 21 was brutal, but it also gave him a chance to contribute immediately on a playoff team. Proof that a slide can still land you in a winning situation. Deonta Davis, pick 31, 2016. If you covered the 2016 class early, you heard Deonta Davis all over the lottery conversation. The tools were obvious: 6 feet 10 inches with spring, length, and rim protection upside. He looked like exactly the kind of modern big who could screen roll, block shots, and finish everything. But as workouts and interviews stacked up, teams wrestled with questions about offensive feel and motor. The uncertainty became a current, and on draft night, Davis drifted with it. When the Celtics used the first pick of the second round on him and moved his rights to Memphis, it shocked a lot of mock draft diehards. A player once framed as a comfortable mid-first had fallen just beyond the guaranteed money cliff. The NBA doesn't value bigs for tools alone anymore. Teams want decision-making, switching ability, and some playmaking or shooting signal. Davis's slide became a cautionary tale about relying on measurables without consistent tape of processing speed. While his NBA run never matched those early projections, the story is important. In a league evolving away from traditional big templates, even lottery measurables can't float a resume if the rest of the profile is fuzzy. Rashard Lewis, pick 32, 1998. Few draft images sting like Rashard Lewis wading through the entire first round, on camera, without hearing his name. Coming straight from high school in 1998, Lewis had legitimate first-round buzz and even lottery chatter. But back then, teams were skittish about prep-to-pros projections unless the upside screamed can't miss. One by one, front offices zigged to college safety, and Lewis slid all the way to 32, where Seattle finally scooped him. And then, two-time All-Star, cornerstone on Orlando's 2009 Finals run as a stretch four ahead of his time, and later, a championship role in Miami. Lewis's slide feels surreal in hindsight, because he ultimately became the exact archetype the league would prize in the 2010s. Long forward, quick release, high-volume spacing. This is the great draft irony. Sometimes a class is too early for its own imagination. In 1998, teams valued post size and mid-range creation. A 6 foot 10-inch sniper was a curiosity, not a blueprint. 31 picks later, Seattle got a franchise piece. The clip of him wiping away tears? It's tough until you realize it ended with a ring and a legacy. Paul Pierce, pick 10, 1998. In spring 1998, you could argue Paul Pierce was the safest star in the class. Polished scorer, tough defender, clutch DNA at Kansas. Plenty of mocks had him going second overall. Instead, the draft turned into a butterfly effect. Teams chased size, upside, or positional need. Michael Olowokandi went number 1. Wings and bigs with prettier measurables jumped the line. Pierce kept falling to 10, where the Celtics slammed the door on the madness. What followed is why this is number 1. Hall of Famer, Finals MVP, a decade plus of bucket getting, and a reputation for saving games in the last 5 minutes. The he's not explosive enough, and what's the ceiling? Debates aged like milk. Pierce's slide is the quintessential reminder that creation gravity, pace control, and shot making under pressure are elite traits. Whether or not you jump out of the gym, he wasn't a mystery box. He was a sure thing sitting on the table. Boston took the sure thing and built a champion around him. 10 was a misread by the room and a gift to the franchise. Jaden McDaniels, pick 28, 2020. In high school, Jaden McDaniels looked like the modern forward prototype. 6 feet 9 inches, handle pull-up game, wingspan for days. Early chatter had him in that future lottery lock bucket. But at Washington, the shot diet got tough. The fouls piled up and scouts started debating. Is he an on-ball star or a rangy role player? That debate followed him into the 2020 draft, where he slid out of the teens, then out of the 20s, until the Lakers took him at 28. His rights quickly moved, and he landed with Minnesota. What changed? Teams questioned decision-making and offensive polish. Others feared a long development curve in a pandemic-shortened scouting cycle. Minnesota bet on feel, frame, and motor, and won. McDaniels blossomed into an elite point-of-attack stopper and glue-guy shotmaker on a Wolves team built to defend with length. The irony, the exact tools people nitpicked, discipline and role clarity, became his superpowers. A late first label turned into playoff-proof value, reminding everyone that wings who guard and hit timely shots are oxygen in May. Sliding to 28 felt brutal in the moment. In hindsight, it set up a perfect basketball marriage. Which slide shocked you the most in real time, and which one would you redraft first today? Drop your pick in the comments. If you love front office chaos, keep the momentum rolling and watch 15 massive NBA contracts that made no sense. It's the perfect follow-up to this draft night roller coaster.